Hey guys, and welcome to the review of the Cats and the Hawks clash, the qualifying final 2016. And mate, it produced as we expected and stated in our preview. It turned out to be one of the greatest finals performances, atmosphere, the way it panned out, and could not have been a much greater finish than that. We went along to the game on the Friday night in the what was supposed to be biblical rain. Didn't turn out to be that way, and a frantic game full of roller coasters, full of emotions, decided by a kick on the siren. And the Cats got home by 2 points, mate. We were both there with Jeff and your sister Jess. How did you see it?
Yeah, it's one of those games where it's a good one. You can say, yep, I was there when Smith missed it on the sign sort of thing. It lived up to everything that it could have. It's one of those games that, our rivalries and everything like that. There's been some amazing contests and finishes and that, but, none better than that, really. I mean, Hawkins and Bartel's goals and points are fantastic, but the genuine kick after the siren and a final, it's unbelievable. So, the atmosphere was crazy. It's, relief. Like, people often say they're relieved to win, but I think I was 95% relief, 5% joy. Like, it just couldn't have been any more one-sided. It was just pure relief when that ball, slid to the side there. It's probably the most, stressful and taxing and emotional game I've probably ever been a part of, because there's just so much on the line. I know you got another chance after that, but look where we are now. Prelim, set up for potentially 2 MCG finals, and, just the way the results panned out, you could have a home ground advantage in the grand final. You just don't know. But, mate, it was unbelievable, and I was rapt that I could get there, because it's definitely one that when they show replays and highlights, you go, yep, I was there. I was pretty lucky.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Look, I'm forever thinking in the last few days, just waking up in the morning or whatever, just sort of thinking, imagine if you kicked it, it'd be Hawks so good in finals. Hawks always win the close ones. Hawks are better than the Cats. Cats can't win finals against the Hawks. I mean, it's so cutthroat and black and white, as you've alluded to in the past. Like, there's no grey feeling in sport or grey area. It all of a sudden takes the tally 3-2 in favour of the Hawks, with the finals over the last sort of 10 or so years. So just pure release, probably a great word you said, mate. Like, you just could not have handled Hawthorn winning another close one this year when they've been scrappy most of the year, you'd have to say, and just getting over the line. And it's just bittersweet to finally win a close one against the Hawks, who've done it all year. And I can't be much happy about the lads and their performance. I mean, it wasn't an all-time great performance, but it was just pure grit, determination, and our fight that got us over the line. It wasn't about a classy performance, at least from our end. So, fantastic to get the win.
Yeah, and we sort of touched on that after the game, how it was, we really did just will it over the line, and, the character required, because, it was an amazing game, but it wasn't a spectacle of, a skill level or amazing execution or conversion. It wasn't one of the all-time great games from that respect, but as far as the contest and just unbelievable history and, what it all meant.
The theatre.
I think both sides dominated portions of the game, and both failed to really make the most of it.
Yeah.
It probably comes down to the dewy conditions and the pressure of finals, and probably two sides just doggedly fighting defensively to make it as hard as possible. But, that last quarter, we were probably screaming it out during the late the second and in that third quarter, particularly the third, to stand up. Someone needs to take this moment and just say, give it to me and I'll lift, and just our leaders to lift and show some character, because it was never going to be pretty. You're never going to string it through the middle and kick down the corridor and just play champagne footy. It wasn't one of those nights, but
No.
we really did in the end. We just showed enough character, especially late, and I'm sure you would have seen it. You know, I watched the game over again, which will be great to see in those real isolated moments that sometimes you don't see or you don't remember it when you're actually there. But we were throwing ourselves at the ball late, and we really looked desperate and just manufactured enough opportunities. And, you know, I felt like in the end both sides probably could have said we deserved to win. But thank God we ended up winning, you know, because, as you say, it's a good point. If it goes the other way, the headlines are Hawthorn are unstoppable in September. They own the G. They own Geelong in finals, you know. You don't get an opportunity to redeem yourself in finals often, because surely you can redeem yourself later in the year in your home and away fixture, but it doesn't mean as much. And finals footy is what it's about, and it can come down to the luck of the draw and what eras you're successful to when you actually meet another side in finals. So,
definitely.
Yeah, there were times yesterday where I was just like, wow, that's enormous, you know. Just what it means for the club and the rivalry and what we stand for, and having pride about the club is unbelievable. And then I guess in the short term, it puts us in an unbelievable position. We are flag favourites for good reason. You know, we're the only club that won't travel outside of their state now, if they want to go all the way. So, you know, probably our form wasn't unbelievable by any means, but I think especially on a cold September night when it's been raining and it's tough conditions and you're not playing your best footy, you know, no doubt the nerves got to us at times and it wasn't clicking.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
We dug in, and like a good tennis player does, you know, sometimes you just got to slug it out and win in 5 sets. You know, it's not your prettiest match of all time. It's not straight sets, 6-5, 6-5, but, you know, you get the win and you advance. So it's hugely important. And, yeah, stoked, mate. Stoked.
Good way to describe it, but I guess some of the fundamentals of the game. Got the clearances by one, and contested possessions, mate. Tell you what, I don't think you've ever seen such a differential in general, but also in a final. We won the contested possessions by 52. I've never seen such a differential between two really good sides, or maybe even ever. It's amazing to think the Dogs had maybe plus 20 something, as you alluded to pre-video, and they look like they smashed them, but yet we doubled it and a bit, and yet it was still such an epic struggle. But as you've said, mate, it's a contrast of two game styles, like plus 52 contested possessions for us, but then it was nearly plus 80 uncontested possessions for them. So we unfortunately allowed them a little bit too much time and space, certainly in their back half, where we just weren't quite meeting up the mark. Or meaning the spare play that they utilise each time coming out, which was frustrating as a supporter to watch, because you just know it's simple just to man up, and obviously it's never as easy when you're just watching on the sidelines as it is in the coalface. But look, some key moments, and there was no, this will be more inside the votes area, but there was no one that really sort of stood out, but there was a lot of team play and great moments, or great little bits of play that led to great moments for certain players. So that was also a positive, and tackles are pretty similar as well in this game. And it was just brilliant to see in that third quarter, where it was, like, second quarter I was pretty iffy on. I was like, gee whiz, and got out to 17 points, and I thought, I just don't know how this is going to go. I don't have a good feeling here, and luckily that didn't come to fruition. That feeling crept into the minds of the Cats, but a true testament to just be, you're 3 goals down. You just had that feel once it got out to 17 points. It was like, oh no, not again. This can't be happening.
Yeah.
And I was like, you just had that moment, that Hawthorn roar comes through. You just had that instant salt. No, please, why? How is this happening? Not in the final again. So, look. Good stuff by the Cats. Stood up in the last quarter. We're pretty good in the last quarters, and we levelled them all in all. And Yeah, look, we allowed him a bit too much time and space. We were good out of the clearances, which you'd expect us to be, and made the most of our opportunities, which kept us in the game. And Hawthorn had 18 inside 50s in the first quarter, I'm pretty sure, and they got one goal. So when you really look at it and delve back into it, our defence was quite amazing considering how much they exposed us at times in those one-on-ones, and got in behind us pretty easily at times. But in saying that, our ability in the air, which has been a strength against Hawthorn in the past, really helped us out, whether it be marking it inside 50 or bringing it to the ground, and then our Crummers getting on the end of it and converting. But one moment I'll allude to, mate, is besides that final siren roar from a Cat's point of view, and the kick after Isaac missed, was the moment when McCarthy snapped his second on the left. The crowd was absolutely nuts, brought it back to 5 points, and that was one key moment. I sort of thought, that's just awesome to hear that roar. I mean, there's so much belief and confidence that we're back in this and we can win this.
Yeah, nothing beats that MCG roar, does it? It's unbelievable. It's what we talk about for a lot of the year.
Oh, yeah.
It's great for it actually happened, but no, I think the point you raised with the contrast of styles, probably testament to how good Hawthorn are at manoeuvring that defence and, allowing themselves to get plus ones, and then they, with their skill level, they work it up the line or through the middle with 45 kicks, and they just have you on a string at times. They'll be locked in and they'll switch it with precision, and all of a sudden they open it up. So,
yeah.
And I guess, we sort of turned the game back to our favour in the sort of more style we would like in that last quarter, because it was certainly on their terms for a while. But and even in that last quarter, you speak about sort of Hawthorn not making the most of the first quarter, we certainly did not make the most in the last. I mean, we had so many near chances and a fumble here, a fumble there, that we probably, you just take that and you snap it, and all of a sudden it gives you breathing space. But it wasn't a beat. So many times where a Ruggles would be there where you just would wish that it was a Selwood or Cowan fumbles, and you wish it was Caddy or Guthrie, someone maybe a little cleaner. But,
yeah, maybe not Dangerfield, mate.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, we can just be pleased to win, because in finals, that's all that matters. It's got massive ramifications.
Definitely, there's no percentage there, mate. But good stuff on the fundamentals of the game. We'll move on to the votes, which I think will be pretty similar, but the order of them I thought was relatively tough.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even really sold on my order, to be honest. I mean, I'd have to rewatch the game to be 100% sure, but I was relatively confident with the three players. I ended up giving 3 votes to Selwood.
Yep.
He had a lot of the ball and, all the contested work that he does. And I really just thought he played a great captain's game, and I can only imagine when I rewatch it, there'll be a lot of those tackles that he does and those in the clinch things that, you just love that he does. And I'm going to give the 2 to Dangerfield, I think. Obviously, it wasn't his cleanest game of all time, and he fumbled a couple of times where he wouldn't normally. But if he's not there, then we don't win. I mean, he had 35 or something, a stack of clearances. I really felt that early in the game, he was one of their better players when things weren't quite going our way.
Yeah.
I mean, he just had to win a clearance or turn the momentum. He was a guy who could be that circuit breaker by getting a clearance and stuff like that. So he's so valuable to us, and obviously him being so good helps the bloke like Selwood get my 3 votes in a way. I gave 1 vote to Guthrie. I think for the most part of the game, he was sort of in the back line and playing a reasonable job. Again, you'd have to see who he's actually matched up on at certain moments in the game, but it was critical of his move more so into the midfield and getting more involved in that last quarter. And he was influential, that's for sure. I really felt that he's a bloke who's not known for his contested work, and I'm not sure if the numbers will back it up or not, but he really did seem like he willed himself to a lot of contests and just wrenched the ball out of contests and tackled hard, which we know he does. So I was really impressed with him, and they're probably my 3 guys there. I would like to give some other fellas a bit of a vote as well, but I felt those three in particular were the most influential over the result. So, yeah. Did you see it any different, mate?
Solid marking, mate. No, I didn't.
Really?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
The two were pretty obvious. It's just a matter of a toss-up with a third one. But, yeah, look, I'll just sort of read through some of the stats. Selwood was fantastic. 27 disposals, 5 marks, 4 tackles, and kicked a nice goal as well. Look, I felt he had the most impact out of anyone, and he was pretty effective with the way he went about it, and yeah, he wanted to win like no tomorrow. So I like the way he went about it. And the Dangerfield gets the 2 votes. He got 35 disposals, 5 marks, and 3 tackles. I'd love to see how much efficiency that was, but yeah, certainly not his cleanest game of all time. But yeah, as you say, you bring up a good point that if he's not there, well, Selwood doesn't play as well, or we don't win at all, kind of thing. So yeah, look, there were times where he's fumbly and times where he didn't use the ball that well, kicked down the full, and yeah, just sometimes where he wasn't great. But you just have to look at his metres gained and contested ball work to, see it a different way. And obviously Guthrie got the R1 vote, the 22 disposals, and got a couple of tackles and a very important goal next to his name. I felt, his job on Rioli was pretty reasonable early. There was probably not much he could do about one of the kicks that went to him, was in behind him, and not even Alex Rance could have stopped that, I wouldn't have thought. But Guthrie, I felt there was just moments where he just really sort of stood up, and that we needed a player that needs to be clean or needed to be tough in the contest. And I felt there was just sort of certain portions throughout the game where he's just in and around and just sort of made the right decision at the right time. So I thought his influence was pretty good. And look, man, looking back on the game, because I rewatched it the morning after, Meningol got so much of the ball early. For me, he got 23 disposals, and I thought, well, he actually did all right. And probably one moment he'd like to have again where he got pinged on the ball. Sometimes he just has to give it off, first give. And looking back on it, Enright was pretty good early as well, and Motlop pretty influential in the last quarter. Hawkins kicked a couple and contested work brilliant, and Reece Stanley even took some good plucks early and played reasonably well. So also, mate, another thing that's worth mentioning, Josh Cowan, 13 zip, win-loss record.
Really?
Yeah, yep. I saw it on Twitter. Saw it on Twitter last night or the night before, and he's a bit of a I don't know, lucky charm.
That's funny, isn't it? I didn't realise that. Yeah.
He's a new Travis Barker, mate. I tell you what. But, and not to mention McCarthy as well, mate. 2 goals in the third quarter that brought us back into it.
Yeah, I think we could probably run through most of the list, and a lot of them would have had some critical moments at stages. They may have not been the quantity of moments that makes for a clear best 5 players or something, but definitely there were a lot of, as you said earlier, just key moments, whether it be an effort or a tackle or a fist or a good hand in there or an outright clearance, whatever it may be. It built up to what was a really willing victory. Built on a lot of those.
Yeah, definitely, mate. We'll take that. And we'll move on to the chopping block, and I think we'll see it pretty similar with what changes need to be made to the Cats lineup for the week after.
Yeah, well, I guess Henderson's the man, isn't he? I mean, someone has to make way for him, and a bit of that would be dependent on opposition as well. I think Pollard Jasmine is probably a man who might be sort of more like for like.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, he doesn't get a lot of the ball, and he's a little shaky at times.
You do like Colo?
As much as I like him, I wouldn't be too concerned if he made way for a bloke like Henderson. And I think probably Ruggles was one who was poor early, and I must say he started to work his way into it. I would imagine watching back I'll be more pleased than I was at the game with him. But he's a bit shaky at times and looked to be a little bit behind finest footy tempo.
Yeah.
So maybe need to sharpen up there, or he might be on the chopping block. And I think Cowan falls into that bracket as well. No, he's got a nice win-loss record, of course, through his career there. But he was very shaky, a bloke who really thundered a lot and certainly looked to be lacking when it came to the finals tempo. So, I like what he does a lot of the time, but he just is a little shaky sometimes. So I hope he can prove me wrong. And, he's a guy who's, got a nice kick on him and a bit of pace, but we'll just have to wait and see. I think Cockatoo's a man we probably would like to get into the side as well. Again, it can depend on matchups and fitness and things like that, but he's definitely a guy that is a quality player and the sort that has X factor and can provide something in finals. And I think he's had a little bit of fitness issue of late, but could be a guy that is certainly in the mix. I don't think there's anything else I want to add there. Have I missed anyone, mate? I don't think I have.
No.
Scott Dole is a man I wanted to mention. Now, he was brought in the side to play on Mitchell, and he did for the most part, and you'd have to say he got beaten. So I think that's where Cockatoo comes into play. I think, if Scott Selwood isn't shutting someone down, then he's probably not offering you a stack out.
Okay.
So if you're not going to be a rugby guy, then maybe you'd rather play Cockatoo. You're more offensive flair sort of player. But anyone else to add to that big phone?
No, I was going to mention Scooter for you because I think you mentioned his name, but upon looking back on the replay, he played all right. He got their most tackles. He wasn't obviously great on Mitchell, but you could argue Mitchell wasn't as effective as he would have been had he not been playing. But I'd probably maybe go Cockatoo for a Cowan more so than a Selwood because he could be handy to tag. Let's say it depends who wins out of Adelaide and Sydney, but he could be handy.
Yeah, Hanbury or something like that, or Sloane, like one of those.
Yeah, Mitchell's a tough matchup. But no, some good thoughts there, matey, anyway. Some good chopping block scenarios.
Good stuff, mate. So what are we going to do now? We normally turn our focus to next week, but thankfully we have a nice little week off, and I suppose we'll do a preview another time when we know our opponent.
That sounds about right. We can't talk about who we're not playing, so we don't know who we're playing, but we'll play we'll play either Sydney or Adelaide, but we'll do a preview for that one as well, I reckon, matey. Obviously once we know the opponent, it's sort of like a review, but previewing the game to come and with the week off obviously helps us a little bit. It's not sort of as much pressure to get it out. So no, we'll be hoping for Adelaide to win. They've won 11 of 17 at the SCG apparently. I gave you a text last night just about the Crows having an alright record up there. My gut feel is we'll be playing Sydney. I think they'll be a bit too proud to lose 2 in a row in a final. And how would that be? I would not have imagined many teams finishing first and then being knocked out in straight sets. I'm not even sure if that's ever happened, to be honest, and I might research it afterwards. So you'd expect Sydney to win. Nice performance by Adelaide, but the top four is generally the top four for a reason.
I'd definitely be expecting Sydney, mate. I expect to play them, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, in that case, I'll be even more nervous. So I wouldn't mind playing Adelaide because we've beaten them twice this year, home and away. So I'd be more.
I'd rather play Adelaide.
Be much more confident, Yeah.
I'd be more surprised by any result that we've had over the weekend with Adelaide won. To be honest, I think it'd be even more of an upset.
Intriguing. Even more than the Dogs and the Eagles?
Yes.
Off that, Adelaide.
We both said in the tips that we thought West Coast would win, but I think we both tipped them by between 10 and 20 points. It wasn't comfortably. And the reason we had doubt is because West Coast aren't a proven side, and that sort of proves the case. I was surprised by the Dogs, but for the Crows to go there, despite Sydney, coming up a lot. You know, they're a bloody good side.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, I would honestly be absolutely shocked.
Shocked.
And I hope I am.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, mate. I think we'll agree on that one. Yeah, no, solid review, mate, from what has been one of the best finals wins in the Cats' history, and I really do believe it's one of their best wins ever, to be honest. So, not one of their cleanest games of all time, but in terms of the context of where Hawthorn and Geelong are at in this rivalry, it's just one of those ones where it's like, yeah, you just appreciate it so much more looking back on it, and, you know, there's nothing stopping it from happening again in the grand final where we play them.
Yeah, it's exciting times, isn't it?
Do you want to play them in the granny, mate, or do you want to play the Giants?
No, I'd like to play the Giants, mate. That'd sit a little more comfortable with me.
All right, I'll agree with you on that one too, because yeah, we know what they can do on grand final day. Sweet, mate. Good stuff from you tonight, despite being sick and whatnot. Solid work from you.
Cheers, mate. No, nice work.
Sweet as. All right, that's a review from Shorty and myself on the Cats and the Hawks qualifying final, and Geelong getting home by 2 points with Isaac Smith missing after the siren. It was an unbelievably reckless game. I was emotionally, physically, mentally spent after the game. I was exhausted, so I couldn't believe it. Yeah, I didn't have a great sleep that night, mate. I only had about 7 hours, and you probably had 4.5 or 5. I don't know about that yet, but I'll surely find out shortly. So that's it from the studio, for myself and Shorty. Don't forget to give the video a like, don't forget to share it around. darijoe will have the Geelong goal video highlights up, so check them out as well. And I'm sure he'll have it in the behind just to rub it all in for Isaac again. And awesome. So thanks very much for hanging out, guys. We'll catch you next time.